a lot of people have a lot of questions, have asked me a lot of questions in emails and letters and in person. They want to know about different aspects of Comrock Boss and your take on it. So I think the best things to do is say, you know, man, what was your background before you came to Comrock Boss? What had you done, or what did you even thought about doing, I guess?
Well, I mean, when I was young, I always wanted to learn how to fight because was in a lot of fights from grade 1 to grade 5. I was probably in about 40 or 50 different fights. So, and I guess I got hooked to the adrenaline rush, you could say. When I got a little bit older, I tried some jiu-jitsu. I did that probably for about 4 or 5 months, and I didn't like it. Didn't feel any sort of empowerment from it. Didn't feel any sort of result. So I quit. Later on, I got an ad one day. It was about Christophe's tapes, and just his background alone, I found quite amazing. So it intrigued me enough to order the videos. Man, I was blown away. Then we started trading off the videos, and then I contacted Christophe through the web, and we organized some seminars from there, and the rest is history.
Well, yeah, but the history is what they don't know about, so
Okay.
we're gonna go into a little bit. Actually, you know, Matt's organized somewhere in the neighborhood of 25, 26 different seminars, and did it in Eastern Canada, which is not an easy market, really. A lot of people probably outside of Canada or even inside of Canada that don't live near that area don't understand that, and we're really instrumental. I mean, Matt was the first person to bring Comrock Boss to the Maritimes, Eastern Canada, and we've gone through a lot of hard times there and a lot of interesting times, and met some good people and lost a lot of good people along the way also. And the stories are legendary about some of the things we've had to go through. Bad interviews and pushing Art's van for kilometers in the middle of winter and almost dying in the snowstorms. But I guess one of the things that people ask is what made you, what drove you, how do you think you were successful in such a difficult market? Because a lot of people would have failed in that same arena. In fact, people have failed in bigger places where they should be easily have kept people interested and got Comrock Boss off the ground. I mean, what did you see? What was your vision about Comrock Boss, and what allowed you to do something other people weren't capable of doing, basically?
Right. Well, first of all, I realized that this was a product like no other. It was a very unique product, and I knew people would really benefit from it and enjoy it. So from that perspective, it was really easy to talk to people about it. And my friends were really drawn by it and really blown away by it. So I was training with my friends, Stefan and Arthur, who you've seen Arthur in the videos. And of course, we were training in what's called the room of death in Arthur's house. He almost died a few times, hitting our heads in chimneys and windows and TVs and all kinds of junk that Arthur had in that room. But anyways, so we started training off these videos, but I saw that people were drawn to it. I saw people were blown away by it. It's not traditional. So I decided, I needed to train with Christophe. The tapes weren't enough. I knew I would get so much more if I could meet him in person and train with him one-on-one or in a seminar setting. So I contacted him and I said, hey, what can I do to train with you? And he said, well, you can come down or you can organize a seminar. So for me, it was much easier to organize a seminar since I was still a student at university and financially I wasn't at a place where I could just travel and go to Tulsa. So I made a decision to organize a seminar, and it was fairly successful. We had, it was actually a good success for the first seminar. We had, I think, 10 people, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, that got me addicted, and I really like Christophe's energy and Christophe's vibe. We had a great time and quite a fun time at Art's house at that weekend. So from then on, I decided to organize more seminars. So we decided to do what's called the winter tour, winter hell tour, and we did 5 seminars in 3 weeks. And in that period of time, personally,
It wasn't just 5 seminars though. We did newspaper interviews, we weren't ready for the radio interview. We've learned from those mistakes. I mean,
yeah.
we all sat around, the guy was asking us questions, we didn't know who he was asking questions to. And then suddenly he would say a name at the end of the question, and we're like, huh, what, you know? That was, looking back, I mean, it's funny, I wish we had a copy of that, just for the humor's sake, but at the time it wasn't funny. You know, we weren't happy with that.
Yeah.
But just to, not to sidetrack you or anything, but I mean, that was the beginning of a lot of, that's many years ago at this point in time.
Yeah.
And
about 6 years ago, actually.
yeah, and it's something that started something huge, really. It started something huge. It's the first contact with Canada,
Yeah.
and I've spent a lot of time in Canada because of that, and some other reasons. But I mean, from that winter tour, I just want to say I went on to a hell of a bad winter in Quebec, where I had to train people. It was a weird city, to say the least. But Quebec's great. I love Quebec. Nothing against that province at all.
The women are the best.
Yeah, that's true. Now, some of my best friends live there, and they're crazy. I mean, Matt's met whom.
Christophe is right. They are quite crazy.
Yeah, the one of my friends that I'm talking about. But that's what I want to concentrate is what we call the vibe. I mean, this unique to us. I really think. I mean, I really think that because we hang with other people, and I've been around a lot of the famous people and a lot of the people who do seminars and private instruction and blah blah blah. And yeah, I'm friends with Jean LaBelle and some other people, and John Saylor. Hang out. It's different, but this vibe, I mean, I guess, kind of explain, because we're really an event.
Right.
You know?
Okay, well, I want to try to explain what the vibe is, because maybe some people out there are confused. And the vibe is the dynamics that when you're with certain people, there's always an energy, an interaction between each other. And I'm not talking about anything weird or mystical here, because I hate mystical shit. But I'm talking about real dynamics. I mean, interaction. I mean, when you're with a close friend, you're always going to have a better time, a better interaction, a better dynamic than when you're with an idiot that you don't care about, that you hate, that's against who you are. So there's a connection between the people that train Comrade Boss, and that's what we call the vibe. So it's very unique, and those that get in contact with the vibe, I think, get addicted to it because it's a lot of fun, and it's more than fun. It really changes your life, I think. So. Yeah,
and something that's, I mean, we should, I guess, for those people who haven't had the chance to hang around us, if we're in with the vibe, because you and I have always created the vibe,
yes.
And we've had the vibe in. With no sleep for about 4 days. We've done that.
3 weeks.
Well, 3 weeks of no sleep. We've done that. We've kept the vibe going. It's 6 in the morning. We got an appointment at 7, and the vibe's on. And we've done that, and we've had the vibe in the music.
Right.
We've had the vibe at karaoke even, and we've done the vibe in bad conditions with filming even. And we've had the vibe at seminars. We've definitely had that. And the thing is that we've done some wild stuff. I mean, we've had some incredible parties as part of, or they're more than parties. I mean, if you think of it, we've had some incredible, spectacles after seminars and with training and stuff. And I mean, Matt, I mean, one of the things, talk about the pepper experience. In fact, we just finished the World Championship.
War.
Habanero, Chile, Guerrera. The war of the the chilies, and Matt was there. Matt was in, and Claude was also here to do it. I mean, Claude is here right now, but we're not talking to him because he's busy this moment. But anyway, I mean, just for everybody, because people want to know about this, because this is what is behind Comrock Boss. This is, you know, how do you come up with these things? How do you do this? It's part of all the vibe, and the vibe is the energy. The vibe is what creates in music. You know, I mean, and you'll be hearing big things from Matt in music. So, you know, just that's
CD's coming up soon.
a definite.
Real CD.
That's a definite thing. You know, that's a definite certainty.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I mean, talk about some of the parties, because we've had some bizarre ones,
Yeah.
and the vibe's been there, and talk about the peppers, because they've been a constant for quite a while.
That's right. Well, I remember the first time I encountered the pepper. We were at Art's house, and the only thing we could find was the dried ones. And for those of you who haven't tried the dried ones versus the fresh one, well, the dry ones taste awful, to say the least. So here I am, trying to eat an awful tasting pepper that not only tasted awful, but gives you one of the most incredible sensations of your life. And it's not a good sensation. But anyways, the point was that it got us introduced to will drills. And I thought, will drills, what a great concept, you know, because willpower is what's going to make you successful in any endeavor, ultimately, because, you know, if you don't have willpower, you can't overcome obstacles. So I thought, wow, you know, using will drills to build will as an exercise, what a great concept. So that was a great experience, and then we had another incredible party at our friend's place, our friend Pierre.
Many there, actually.
Many there, but we had one where we had an official award at that time.
That was it the New Brunswick Championship at that time? Or?
I believe so, and I had three peppers that night, which was a new height for me at the time. And Arthur, we had him on the couch, and he was crawling and crying, and yanking about his stomach. But anyways, it was quite a wild time. But yeah, the peppers, and then we had the Fit Dip War, which we'll probably release on video with today's war, maybe as a compilation.
Yeah.
For all of you.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, you know, tell them about that. I mean, you know.
The Fit Dip War was pretty intense, because I'll tell you how it developed. Well, I had these two clients. I'm a personal trainer as well. In the gym, I help people lift weights and lose weight and all that stuff. So I had two clients, and I told them they couldn't handle the peppers. So of course, they took my challenge on. And I wanted to see my boss suffer, because I hated the bastard. so I went into the contest. Of course, I wanted to see him suffer, and one of my friends too. So and of course Christophe. So we lined up. We had Art as the referee. It was good. It was a great contest.
He was a good referee, though. Really, seriously.
Very intense, very serious about
it. I know. I wish we would have had him here today. Really, seriously.
Yeah, he would have put some good dynamics.
He gave us some good, you know, power.
It was focused. So.
Yeah.
But and that day I got 4 peppers, and so that was again a new height. And Christophe again was the king. He prevailed. He had 6 peppers with nothing, no liquids, no ice cream. No
we let people slide on everything at that one.
Yeah, we learned. Yeah. But it was another great event. And again, you know, and will drills we have other will drills. We're going to keep them secret for now, but those of you who will join our inner circle, for only $4.99 a year. No, seriously, but those of you who train with us in our series of Comrock Boss will get to learn some very special will drills that we're developing right now. That are quite exciting. So.
Yeah, and okay, I mean, this will be other than getting the tape about the pepper war itself. I mean, just discuss today's events. I mean, of the pepper, and you know, I mean, you know, Claude was there, and you know.
Well, first of all, I'm very impressed with Claude. I mean, I knew he could take pain, because I've given him quite a bit. He's still around, but I was very impressed with what he ate 5 peppers today. And I'll start by
Didn't
saying
complain.
that.
Did not
complain. Took it like a man. Very, very, very powerful. I liked it. It was fun.
It was a strong field though, really, seriously, wasn't
Very
it?
strong field today. It was the strongest competitors ever. JP he had a lot of will. I mean, you could tell he was trembling and shaking, and he was in a lot of pain. But he even puked and ate another one. I mean, you got to give him credit for that. And then we had a man who's we all think he's crazy. You'll see him on the tape. You'll see why we think he's crazy. But so he ate, I think, 10 peppers.
Yeah, he went to 9 or 10.
So he was very impressive.
He was
as well.
he was pushing the field.
He was pushing the field. But again, who do you think prevailed? Well, the king, of course, and also the mighty John Saylor.
Who lied and said he was only in for exhibition. For those of you who read the paper saying he was not going to compete any longer.
Yeah, and we're not going to tell you who's won between the two. You have to buy the tape, of course. But it was quite an exciting finale. So
it was horrible.
It was.
It was horrible.
And I think John Saylor is still paying for it right now. So
it's horrible. We will say that we went to the newest height on the number of peppers.
Yeah, new records were broken
Yeah,
today.
new records.
I think Guinness World Book of Records should have been here because it was some new records.
It's nothing I want to do again soon, you know.
But another pepper war, and again, it just proves the power of having willpower. It's all about willpower. You know, you're not going to eat 10 peppers without willpower, I guarantee you.
Okay, I mean that's one aspect that you mentioned about Comrock Foss, but what in these years? I mean, you started out, we had a general sort of sampler seminar,
right?
And then we went on to actually very specific seminars.
Mm-hmm.
Ground grappling 1, striking 1, 2, 3, self-defense 1, 2, 3, stand-up grappling, on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And the personal training, you did personal training also,
Right.
And from that, I mean, you had a concept of fighting. I guess explain to people, because this is a big thing for everyone who asks, and they don't. If I just say these things, they don't believe me because yeah, sure. But what was your concept of fighting when you started Comrock Boss, and what's your concept of fighting now, and what sort of things have you learned along the way? You know,
It's a great question. Well, first of all, I mean, I think everybody's concept of fight that has not trained Comrock Boss or any sort of realistic method is very limited. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm going to hit him in the head, or I'm going to throw him in a wall, I'm going to tackle him, or it's just very limited, and that's where I was at. I mean, I think my concept, I'm going to punch him, I'm going to, I mean, that's all I thought of before I knew Comrock Boss, and I was in fights before I learned Comrock Boss, and that's what I did, and I won. I won almost every fight that I was ever in with my traditional mindset, but when I started seeing Comrock Boss, I mean, even after the first seminar, I mean, everything changed. It's like, whoa, okay, there's other parts of the body I can attack. I mean, that's the first thing I think I realized, and how to attack them, and the different. You don't realize how vulnerable the body really is. So then when we start getting to specific seminars, I mean, here's what I tell people. I mean, I always, at the end of the day, I always look back and said, hey, I would kick Matt Gallant's ass, who he was in the morning, every time. There's no question about it. I was always blown away after a seminar, the skills I had acquired. It's not just, oh wow, he showed me a bunch of stuff and I was really impressed. It was, wow, I can do this now. I mean, I can do this in a fight. So I would always leave a seminar feeling like, wow, this is a new part of the fight. For an example, with ground grappling, for those of you watching UFC again, you've got a concept that, okay, that's ground fighting. Well, I guarantee you haven't trained ground fighting with us because it is different than what you're going to see there. Same thing with striking, and you're adding these different dimensions to your skills and to your fighting arsenal, to your weapons. So every time you add a new weapon, it's like the person who goes out to war, you know, I mean, if you give him a new tool, a new weapon, he can come up with a new way to attack people and win the war. So it was always interesting to see, whoa, this is a new weapon. Like, for example, it's like, wow, this, you come up with a new missile technology or a new kind of a bullet that can penetrate through armor and blow tanks. I mean, that's really what it's like. I mean, you're getting all these new powerful tools at every seminar, every time I've trained with Christophe. It's always how it's been. And that's what's kept me into it. It's what's going to keep me into it. It's just that addiction to getting new tools, new powerful tools. And I mean, even today, I mean, we had an incredible seminar this weekend, and my concept of fight changed again. You know, it's like, it's never going to end. And you need that open mindset that the fight is not a static thing. And
Well, and Comrade Foss's, and I think that's, you know, something you can attest to, you can say, is that when you started, it isn't the same thing as when you started those years ago. That things are different. I'm always constantly refining things, doing new things. For example, you did something today, actually, with knife stuff that's new for you. I mean, you know, I've had it for a while, but it's new, and it was leaked. It's leaked at this seminar. And I mean, what are your just on that? What were your thoughts just on that aspect? You know what I mean?
Well, it was interesting because, you know, I mean, there's certain things you said on the first knife biting video. For those who've seen that, if you haven't, please buy it now. Call the number. We won't say the number, I guess. But anyways, when I saw that the new movie you showed today, I thought, wow, you know, I mean, it at first it looked like a contradiction, really. It did, but then as soon as you put it all together, it's like, okay, you know, again, his genius prevails. But seriously, again, you know, sometimes you get limited because you see the first video and you think, okay, well, that's all there is to it, and that's all that's going to be. But again, when Christophe shows a new solution, it's because it's better. It's because he's thought of it even more, and he's experienced it even more, he's drilled it even more, and he's coming up with a new twist. And this new twist, you know, it blew me away. It really did. I mean, it's just.
And it's not
great.
difficult either.
It's easy. I mean, yeah, very easy. Very easy.
Yeah, that's where things should go too. Is more simplistic rather than more complex. The thing that is interesting is that now you're involved as because you're the main guy in Canada. I mean, tell people how you feel about that and the road to that and everything else.
Okay.
You know.
Well, first of all, it is an incredible honor. It was an incredible honor to become an instructor from day one, because
it wasn't easy, was it?
No, it's not easy. You know? It's not easy because it was a big commitment to keep bringing Christophe down. I mean, it is a lot of work. I mean, organizing a seminar is a lot of work, and I had to develop all these new skills, which is even harder. It's not like, okay, well, I'm just gonna bring him down and send him some money. That's all there is to it. I mean, if I was a millionaire, it could be that easy, but I'm not yet. So what I had to do is learn skills to market the seminars. So I did that, and that was part of the road. But again, it goes back to will. You know, if you've got enough will, you'll learn whatever you need to learn to get where you want to go. And that was my attitude. So of course, I was very successful at organizing seminars and at least breaking even or making a small profit. And of course, the training. I was training every day. I forced Arthur out of his old chair and brought him to the room of death.
The grave.
Brought him out of his grave. That's what we used to say. I had to go to his house, get him out of bed. And actually, one night, here's a good story for all of you. It's about 2 a.m. and I'm just in a certain mindset that hard to describe, but it's the vibe. A certain part of the vibe. And I go to Art's place and I get him out of. I started yelling, "Art, get out of your grave!" Because Because that night, I'll explain why I went there and why I said that, because I just realized, Arthur's in a grave, he was just in a mental grave, physical grave, so I just realized, okay, I gotta snap him out of it. So my plan was to just wake him up and slap him up around, slam him around a little bit and try to get him out of the grave. So I wake him up, we go down the room of dead, and I just start doing all these comrade boss moves to him, so that was kind of funny. But it is part of the road is having the will to train. You got to train. You got to be committed to the workouts. You got to be committed to.
Well, it's mental development along with the physical, right?
Of course, because the mind rules the body, as you said this weekend, and it was very well stated. The mind controls the body, and you got to have that will. Again, it goes back to that point. If you take anything out of this interview, is build your will, because it'll get you wherever you want to go. Really, if you've got enough of it. But as far as the road, as far as becoming an instructor, it was a great honor. I remember at the Fit deck in Moncton that I did the tests, and it was challenging. It was I was very serious and very focused. And
Yeah, you might as well tell people what you have to hit to pass.
Well, of course, since we're not just every Joe Schmo, Joe Blow, and we're not like any other school, you got to do 100%. So there's a certain pressure that comes with having to do 100% that's not there with any other way. If it's, you need to do 60%, you'll pass. Well, okay, well, I'll fuck that. And, if I get that wrong, it doesn't matter because I've got another 95% to go. That's the mindset I think most people would have if you go with another structure. So this is, I think, is a very intelligent way to structure things, of course. And became an instructor, and as an instructor, I've progressed in my skills, which is it's another new arena because you can be an incredible practitioner and not be able to teach a damn thing, or an incredible teacher, but you still need the knowledge to transfer. So I started a class, and the class that's where I met Claude. For you who watched the interview with Claude. And I also do many women's seminars, a lot of women's seminars in Moncton, New Brunswick, which was very successful. Every women's seminar I did was very successful. I did almost, I believe, 10 different seminars so far. And now I'm in Vancouver, so I moved 4 months ago to Vancouver. It's a much bigger city. It's a great city. For those of you who haven't gone, please go check it out.
So west side of the U.S. now can connect with Matt in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And east side can connect with, if they're up north, they can connect with Claude. And we're working other places. That's one of the things that we're,
That's right.
I guess, really, let's talk about developments for a second, because you're talking about the evolution. So let's talk in the highest level right now is obviously you're wearing a shirt that indicates something here, and a lot of people are curious about that, and will be if they see this interview about the T-shirt. What does it have relevance to Comrock Boss or not? And so, I guess.
Okay. Well, let's just talk a little bit about the burst. I mean, we can't reveal too much about it, but the burst is basically how to become.
It's our most highly guarded.
It is
thing at this point.
Here's an analogy to what it is. It's like becoming a rock star in 10 hours. Sounds weird, but I mean, here's what it takes to become a rock star for those of you who've got that dream. Go out, buy a guitar, practice 3 to 4 hours a day for, depending, 2 to 5 years, depending how good you have a teacher and how well you learn. Then try to start a band, try to focus on writing skills, and you might get there after 10 years. But if somebody could tell you, okay, I'm going to give you that level of skill, and you'll be able to perform on stage in 10 hours, that's the burst.
With no stage fright.
With no stage fright. That's the burst. I was blown away when I was talking to Christophe not too long ago. I was talking to you not too long ago, and you started describing the burst. And I mean, I know you've always evolved stuff, but this was like another quantum leap. You know, I mean, this was not just a new move, or it wasn't just, oh, here's another arm lock, or here's another self-defense move. This was a quantum leap. I mean, this is not just a little thing. You know, this was again, it's a big jump. So it's exciting. You know, I mean, for those who are just doing the same old thing. I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand how people can just keep doing the same old thing and have instructors that are stuck in traditional garbage, because the world's dynamic, life is dynamic, and a training system needs to be dynamic. It's the only way. If it's not, chuck it out, get rid of it, you know, hook into something that's dynamic, and Comrock Boss is dynamic. It's the most dynamic thing in the self-defense industry. There's nothing like it. And the burst is the pinnacle so far of Comrock Boss technology.
Yes, it's definitely that. You know, I mean, as a person who worked on it, I can say that. Lots of things, you know, I won't go, this is not my interview, and I won't go into what spawns me to create things or what leads to it. But I will say, I will ask, though, because we were here at the Barn of Truth, I've talked about John Saylor for many years, and Matt has always asked me about John Saylor. What is he like? What does he do? Blah, blah, blah. And here's a good, for those people who haven't met John through me and haven't seen us work together, I mean, I guess I'll try to structure this. How was the vibe with John and I together? What do you think of John? And how was the whole experience? You know, and how does it fit to Comrock Boss and all those things?
All right, well, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to talk with John, because, you know, I mean, I was always, very curious with John. I mean, because I've always been curious, because you're pretty particular about who you like and who you don't like. I mean, I think those of you who watch the tapes know that. And so for you to be a fan of anybody, I know they've got to be something. So I was always curious about who is John Saylor, and why is he special, and where does he fit into Comrock Boss? I always had that question. So my answers were revealed on the weekend. And first of all, John Saylor is an incredible man, great man, really is. He's beyond my expectations. I mean, I didn't really have any expectations. I knew he was an incredible martial artist, or a fighter, or a self-defense instructor. But as a person, he's an incredible man, and he's built an incredible life for himself. I'm glad for him. And as far as the vibe, the vibe, as we call it, the dynamics between Christophe and John Saylor, it's pretty amazing. I'll share a little story for the world here. My first experience of watching the vibe was at the airport when they picked me up, and we're going in the elevator to leave the airport. And guess what happens? John Saylor starts rumbling with Christophe in the elevator. And let me tell you, I mean, that's when I saw John Saylor's power. And I saw their interaction, their dynamic. I mean, it's like watching two gods have fun together and play games, you know? I mean, that's really what it's like. So, you know, I mean, it really is like that, because John Saylor is an incredibly powerful man. I mean, 260 pounds of solid mass, and he's not only solid mass, because solid mass alone is not going to give you anything. He's got incredible skill. But I think what impressed me the most about John is his style of teaching, which is very similar to Christophe's. I like the analogy you use, that they're both speaking the same language, but they have a different accent because they're coming from different parts. Where John's coming from a grappling background, and Christophe's coming more from a striking background. So, you know, you're gonna have a little different accent. My native language is French, so you know, you can hear a little accent. That's what it is. So that's a great analogy, because John has that open-ended mindset. I call it open-ended mindset, because he's not trying to tell you, okay, well, if he does this, do that. If he does this, do that. I mean, that's a closed mindset. He teaches concepts, and he creates an environment that you can learn the concepts for your own body type, for your own mechanics, and from your own experience. So it creates an incredible environment, and the bar of truth is a great environment to learn. I can tell you that. Anybody who hasn't come here yet, you better come down on the next seminar because you're missing out. And I regret not coming here earlier, I really do. And I guarantee I'll be here every year from now on. So John Saylor, yeah, an incredible man, incredible instructor, and the vibe between Christophe and John is something to witness. And there's a lot of fun interaction. And that's something else that I don't think a lot of martial artists have. They don't have that fun element. I mean, there's always fun here. I mean, there's a lot of joking around happening. There's a lot of beating each other up verbally. It's always fun to watch those battles. Christophe wins on those battles. But as far as the interaction between Christophe, John Saylor, and the students, us, it's awesome. I mean, it's been an incredible weekend, one of the greatest seminars I've ever been to. Yeah, you got to come down.
How did you find the material, the learning, and what do you think you'll retain? I mean, because you went to some other seminars with other people besides me.
Yes.
And John. So I'm saying this for people to get a glimpse into differences, or also things that why you're attracted to this, over something else.
Well, I'll just share an experience I had with another seminar. It was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu seminar. It was a Gracie. I'll reveal. It was a Gracie seminar, and the guy showed up with 30 different techniques. And let me tell you, I remember 2 of them. I remember 2 of them. That's it. The guy was just trying to impress us. He didn't give a damn about what we learned. He didn't give a damn about what we remembered. And it left me feeling a little bit almost ripped off. It's like, the point to go to a seminar is not to be impressed by somebody's library of moves. It's for myself to go and learn. And that's what keeps me hooked in combat class, because there's always a learning. I mean, every seminar I've been to, the retention rate is anywhere from 75 to 100%, always. It's never been, and I would say higher than that. I would say, honestly, 85 to 100%, because, you leave a seminar, you can always fine-tune it, and you can always improve it, but, I mean, a lot of times I can use 85% of what I've learned in a fight probably right away, and that's an incredible testimonial. I mean, again, it goes back to learning music. If you're going to learn the songs, and you can go play on stage that same night, it's saying something very powerful, I think. So as far as what I learned specifically this weekend, incredible new technologies. And John... It was jam-packed, really, wasn't it, with information, so I'm trying to say. It was, and I mean, it was jam-packed, it was, because I was trying to take notes after the seminar, and there was a lot of stuff that you even remember to write down. As far as what I'm going to remember, I think John... I'll talk about what John taught me first, and I'll tell about what Christophe taught me, but John really changed my mind on street grappling. Really did. I mean, he opened up a new possibilities to the dangers that are out there that I think most of the grappling world is oblivious to, and they would die. They would die in a lot of situations that now, hopefully, I won't, because I'm more savvy to those situations. Christophe, I learned a new technique called the bump, and I'm in love with it. It's one of my favorite moves already. It's probably the top 5. it's a move to me, the same level of the pop-up. You know, it's that level of technique. So for those of you who love the pop-up, which is almost everybody, you'll love the bump. And the knife defenses are a lot of fun. I mean, it's a new dimension because you do underarm stuff. It's a lot of fun, but when you're dealing with a knife, it's a lot more challenging because it's more dangerous. There's more odds of you getting killed. So I appreciate Christophe's advice. He changed my mind again, my concept of knife fighting this weekend. It's great.
Yeah, and I guess one of the things that you find if you look at a lot of people's work and moves and technology or techniques, what they have, it seems like here's something, here's something, here's something, and you know you're just lost in it.
Mm-hmm.
And was there any sense of that? I mean, was it just like, okay, this is a technique just to impress you, or this is a technique just to throw out there, something came up with, it sounded good, or this is something that was...
I mean, honestly, it was a total opposite. I'm going to say a word, and this is one of my personal favorite words in the world. It's called integration. And that's what you get. When you train with Christophe, it's constant integration, and I want to explain what I mean. Like Christophe said, it's not just a bunch of techniques, it's putting the techniques in with what you know. It's integrating that new piece, that new nugget of knowledge into what you know, that base. And everything fits in. And that's how it should be, because if things are contradicting, there's no contradictions in reality, only in people's minds. That's something to take away. But you know, if something contradicts what you know, then there's either pieces missing that you don't have, or there's something wrong. And Christophe is a master, he really is, at putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And yeah, we learned different techniques, but then Christophe would come in and say, hey, watch this. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it boom, it's like a new puzzles, you know, it's like constant new pieces of art being created, really. Again, I mean, the music analogy, you know, I'm a musician, so it's the easiest one for me. It's like taking different skills and then writing different parts with it. I mean, it's not just, I mean, if you listen to certain songs that suck, there's no integration. That's the problem. There's no integration between either the singing and the guitars, or the guitars are off. I mean, there's something wrong when music sucks. So Christophe, again, he's the master of integration, and he's always been the master of integration. And I think those who watch the tapes have an idea of that, only an idea, because at seminars, his integration goes to another level. You know, I think there's more specific integration that you're not going to get off any video, and that's the value of coming to train with us in person.
Yeah, and I'm dying from the peppers. They just made a return visit to me. You've met a lot of people who've been around in the core group for quite a while now. Not everyone, but you've met Sean Stiles and Brandon Cole, and a lot of people will ask me, what are those guys like? And of course, my take is going to be different than anyone else's take, because I've been around them longer. But you know, I mean, go ahead and give your take on their abilities and their vibe and their you know,
well,
whatever. Because you know, they were all out there when we filmed Savage Street Fighting.
That's right.
And Rosetta Stone.
Well, I mean, I've always wanted to meet those guys. You know, I had the honor to meet them when we filmed Savage Street and Rosetta Stone. And let me tell you, first of all, their abilities are amazing. I mean, when I watched Brandon do the sequences with Christophe, I saw this guy is world class. I mean, he's a very, very good striker, very good at flowing, very good at a lot of things, really. So Brandon impressed me quite a bit, and Sean Styles as well. I mean, Sean Styles is lightning. I mean, for those of you who've seen him on the first stage, you know how quick he is. With as far as the vibe goes, I mean, it was a new world because when I saw John Saylor kick Christophe in the balls and run away, this was a new vibe that I wasn't witnessed to before. So it was fun. I mean, again, that fun element is there. I mean, if you hang out with those guys, you're going to have fun. If not, there's something wrong with you. So Sean Saylor is a lot of fun to hang out with. So is Brandon. Both very unique guys. You're not going to find guys like that every day. And they're guys that, yeah, like, you know, if you're ever in a bad situation, those are the guys you want. Definitely behind you.
What do you think about their expression of comrade boss? You know?
It's unique. I mean, Sean Styles is not outdated, but he has a different approach than the newer technology. So that's interesting. I mean, he's developed a style that fits his body type, which is a lighter body weight and a smaller frame. But obviously, he's been very successful in real fights, real situations. And I got a chance to grapple with him in Visalia, which was a lot of fun. And I saw his level of skill. It's very impressive. And as far as Brandon Cole, his expression has a lot of striking. He likes to strike because of his background as a professional kickboxer. And it's just interesting because they've all got their own unique vocabulary in one sense. It's the same words, but it's the way they're putting it together, I guess. It's the best way to put it. But very impressive, very impressive.
Yeah, and what that kind of says is that really it's not everyone tries to imitate the same thing. Everyone is themselves, using certain laws and rules and constants.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, it's like the same, again, going back to that music analogy, you know. There's only a limited amount of notes in existence, and it's how, you know, you can have 5 or you can have 1,000 different musicians. You're going to have a different song every time because the expression, how people put the notes together, how people integrate the scales, how people integrate the rhythms to the scales is all going to be different. So there's going to be different music coming out of every person. So, you know, again, that's the best analogy because, again, Christophe and Brandon and Sean Styles and myself or Arthur or Claude or John Saylor, we're all speaking the same language, but we're all have our own unique expressions or our own unique sayings, and that's how it should be because it's natural that way. You get to express what's natural to you, and that's important. I mean, at first it's normal to imitate, you know, and you should because you get to learn what works and you learn from the best. But after a certain point, I think you have to start finding your own unique path, and that's something that takes time. It takes years, and you got to train hard, and you got to keep progressing. But that's the ultimate level. That's where ultimately you should want to be.
What do you see happening in Commonwealth Boss, and where do you want it to go? And what do you hope for those people who you've left behind in Moncton now? And do you think they'll survive without you?
Well,
you were the driving force. I mean, basically, let's face it, you were the driving force there for quite a while.
Right.
And
right.
there were a lot of strong participants for a while, but they faded. You know?
Well, you know,
and we didn't want them to, but they did fade. But so, I mean,
I feel sad. Honestly, it's the best feeling. Wouldn't describe how I feel because it's sad to see people progress to a certain point and then quit because, you know, I mean, there's so much more to grow from there, and now they're regressing, and I'm still progressing. You know, so we're going opposite directions from the people that I've left behind. As far as the future for Conrad Boss, there's a lot to say there because I've always had a vision. I mean, I've always known this is the greatest self-defense system in existence. No questions asked, right? So how come that every Joe Schmo on the street doesn't know about it? That's always been my question in my mind. That's always been my driving mad, the question that drives me mad at night, you know, that I can't sleep, is why isn't Conrad Boss huge around the world, and why doesn't everybody want to learn it?
Well, I think Mike Salem had that answered, but you know, we save that one for hopefully his interview at some point in time.
But okay, that question drives me to an answer, and to me the answer is spreading it, and I'm taking a proactive approach by marketing the hell out of it, and I've spent a lot of time learning how to market, and I think you're going to see some very interesting projects in the future on video, seminar, one-on-one,
Digital.
articles, books, digital, website. So I think you're going to expect a lot of different formats, a lot of different products, and for those of you who think you've seen it all, who you don't need any more tapes, you're wrong, you know? I mean, if you know, it's like saying, well, I've learned how to play a couple riffs, so that's it, you know, I'm not going to learn anything else. I mean, it's stupid, you know, it's stupid. If you really want to become successful at anything, you got to keep learning, and that's the number one thing that I've found with people that I know that have been successful, is they're constant self-learners. You know, they're always focused on self-growth, and that's important, you know, and that's my driving energy, is I've got to improve every day, you know. At the end of the day, if I haven't improved, then I'm not happy, you know, and there's something wrong. And that's got to, I think that's where people are lacking. They don't have that drive to improve. And if you're one of them, well, cure it, because, you know, you're missing out and you're cutting yourself short.
Okay, this could be a little bit bizarre at this point in time, but you know, because this is what people really want to know, and it's hard because I've been involved in all the interviews, obviously. Other than, you know, and Brandon, of course, would have no qualms about saying something. But what would you tell people about me that you don't think that they know, or what do you think they should know, or what do you think that they miss, or what do they lack, or what is the important thing to know about me in regards, obviously, to Comrade Boss or training, or even in life, really. I mean, because it's all, you know, wrapped up, you know.
Yeah, all integrates. Again, my favorite word. Well, I think something that, you know, well, just because I've seen people react to Christophe, I think the thing that people expect, and they're surprised because it's not there, is that, you know, they expect Christophe to, expect you to be serious, dark, morbid maybe, sadistic, which you are, but no, but I think people have a dark vision of Christophe because
eating nails and stuff like that.
Eating nails, and yeah, exactly, and sleeping on spikes and swords, but that's a big misconception, because the fact is that he is I don't want to say an ordinary man, because you're not, but he's a good man, he's a good person. I think that's what surprises people, you know, people that they get a chance to actually know him and interact with him and live experiences with him, find that out. And I think that's what I think the biggest surprise for people, you know, is his personality. I mean, he's a lot of fun, and there's an energy that people get to experience at a seminar that you're not going to see on the instructional videos, and that energy, that vibe, is the fun vibe. Christophe is incredibly fun to be around with. He's a lot of fun to hang out with, and I think people I honestly don't think people expect that. You know, I think people expect him to be 100% serious all the time. I mean, he is a very serious man, and you need to be in life. You need to be serious at times, most of the time. But he knows how to have fun. He knows when to have fun, and I think that's what people get shocked. That's what people get shocked.
Well, I think now people are shocked with our mutual vibe. We proved that once again this weekend, but I don't know, that's quite a lot of information for everyone to try to digest and go through. At this point, I mean, really, what is there anything you'd like to tell people that you left out, or anything that you think is important that I didn't ask you, or you know, I mean, there's lots of things. I mean, we could do a lot of interviews, and you know, in the future, I mean, this is not the end all, be all. This is just a glimpse into each person who's involved, who's been involved in Commonwealth Glass for some time now, and it gives a better idea of what everything is about, because it's just not me talking. You know, I mean, that obviously has some weight, some credence, some sort of validity, but it's also talking to other people who've been in it now for a while, and also just started, and who found it to be unique. I mean, this is really, you know, this is really, here's a good time, like where I've left questions out, or there's topics you want to talk about, or people you want to talk about, or any, you know, any aspect of anything.
Well, I think the main thing I want to talk about is how it's changed my day-to-day life. I mean, I think that's an important aspect, because, you know, Come Rock Boss, it's not like you just jump in the gym, you jump out, and that's all there is to it. There's a mental shift. There's a big mental change that happens with the training and with progressing on the path. That's what I just want to talk about that a little bit. I think the biggest change is confidence. And I mean, not false confidence, not stupid confidence, but just real deep down, profound confidence. What do I mean by that? I mean that, you know, I'm not stupid. You know, if I see a gang of 12 bikers, I'm not just going to kick their bikes down and start fighting for no reason or rhyme. But on the other hand, I've been in situations where, yeah, there's 12 Indians, and I'm with only one guy, and it got ugly pretty quick, and you know, it was a very dangerous situation. We could have died very easily, and I had the confidence to get out of that situation. I had the confidence to deal with it in a very powerful way, in a very rational way. Sometimes, and what I found is my confidence it makes me avoid fights. Not that a lot of times I go up to people and I have a problem with them for whatever reason, but the confidence overwhelms them. I don't even need to become physical, because my mental just blows them away. You know, they can't deal with it. So I think that's an important factor. And beyond that, this is something that this might sound strange, but is really helped me with women. I want to talk a little bit about that. You know, when you've got confidence, you attract people. You really do. And when women have told me, they feel my power. They know I've got power, and they feel it. And and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that it comes from within, and it comes from training, and it comes from growing. You know, when you're growing, you're progressing, and you're learning skills, and you can do things, and you can defend yourself for real. That's power. It is really power. And again, women feel that, and they're attracted to it. So I think it's a great it's a great benefit, to say the least. And even just confidence facing people, and when I say facing people, I don't mean facing them and trying to do a fight. I'm talking about, you know, you have a problem with somebody. It might be a little thing, but you've got the confidence to go up to them and talk to them about it, you know, And if they are stupid, and if they want to fight you, then you've got the answers to deal with that. So I think confidence is the thing you just don't expect how much it's gonna change your life, but it really does, and that grows with time. I mean, I think you get a lot of it right off the bat, but I hit a certain point after 2.5 years. There was a big switch in my thinking, and it really changed my life, and it still is changing my life. And it allows me to travel. It allows me to go places where a lot of people might not feel comfortable. But also it makes me aware. It makes me aware of people that are potentially threats. It makes me aware of dangerous streets, dangerous corners, dangerous bars. And it makes me aware of, okay, well, if I'm aware of it, I'll avoid it. So, most people are oblivious to those things, and they're stupid to those things, and that's, I think they could avoid 99% of altercations just by being more aware. So that's another huge benefit. And one more thing I want to add is the bonding. For those of you who haven't found a training partner yet to train with, sometimes I know it can be very difficult.
You've gone through a few.
I've gone through dozens, actually. When you find somebody special that you connect with and you trust, like Claude Gallant, you progress together and you learn and you bond, and it becomes a relationship. Just be more in training. It becomes a real deep friendship, because you gotta trust the guy. I'm not gonna start sharing my neck, my knees, and my necks with people that I don't know. It's not gonna happen. And that's something I learned from Christophe. He doesn't hand you just well, here's how to rip somebody's knee. Let's practice that, people. It's, you got to earn the respect. You have to earn the trust. And I like that, because if you were just handing that out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, it would just diminish the value of it. So there's a lot of things about Comrock Boss that's just not anywhere in the structure of it and who we show things to. And please, it doesn't mean that you can't make it. It just means that you've got to earn our trust. You just have to progress, and you have to show us that you're a rational human being and that you're a controlled person. Because if you're out of control, we don't want you. And we've kicked people out of our classes. We've kicked people out of seminars, and we're going to continue to do so. I mean, it's a very small percentage, but those of you who are out of control, we don't want you. As far as anything else, I just want to add that for those of you who haven't trained with us in person, you're missing out. You really are, because videos are just, I'd say 5% of really what you can get out of Comrock Boss versus coming to and training with us in person. I mean, I've trained with Christophe again about 25 seminars and many hours of personal training one-on-one. So I can tell you from experience, and this is not a sales pitch. This is just the reality. Is that you're gonna grow. You're gonna explode. Really, you're gonna explode with your skills. You're gonna explode mentally. You're gonna explode in life. So, if you're just happy being Joe Schmo and you don't want to experience any happiness and you want to just be average, then just don't give us a call, please. Because we're not looking for just average people. We're looking for people who want to learn, who want to improve, who want to grow. Because if you don't have that mindset, you're dying. That's one thing that I think Christophe made me realize. And this is a profound lesson in life, is that you're either growing or dying. There's no in between, in any area. And in Comrock Boss and self-defense, self-protection, if you're not training, if you're not buying the latest videos, if you're not coming to seminars, you're dying. You gotta keep up. And I think that's where people go wrong. They train 1 year, they come to one seminar, they buy one set of tapes, and they think they've got it all. It's like, come on, get real. It's like, it's very, I mean, it's just stupid mindset. It's just a very stupid mindset. I mean, um, I've got a lot of different beliefs than most people, and one of them is that, you know, if I was alive for a billion years, I'd still be learning. I mean, because why not? You know, and again, it goes back to the point, are you living or are you dying? There's no in between. So choose where you're going, because it's nothing else. It's not your neighbor's fault you're dying. It's not your mother's fault you're dying. It's not your brother's fault you're dying. It's not your son's fault you're dying. It's not your friend's fault either. It's your fault. So you can make the choice right now, not tomorrow, not in 5 minutes. It takes 10 seconds. I call it 10-second miracles, because you can change your life in 10 seconds. It sounds weird, but I mean, I have. You know, sometimes you just make a decision in your mind, and wow, you know, and it changed your life forever. And for example, here's an example. When I decided to bring down Christophe or buy his set of tapes, it's a decision that took 10 seconds in my mind, and it's changed my life. Or another one is just coming to the seminar. It sounds simple things, but you know, again, it's just taking those 10-second decisions, those 10-second miracles that can really yield some amazing results. You know, and versus just sitting on the sidelines and dying. So I think that's my closing words on the some other intricacies. Yeah, but we could talk for a few weeks about everything, really. You know.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to talk about, and you know, we just hit one area and went off on some things related to that area, and there's so many things to talk about, and there's so many things that people want to know and don't know at this point in time. But it's vast. It's a deep, profound topic and subject, and
it never ends.
yeah, it makes me think of the people who've been involved and the people that were so instrumental to certain developments, and also who've been there and who we would like to see back. I mean, there's quite a few people we'd like to see back, and there's a lot of people out there with talent that I've trained, and I'd like, you know, I want to see those people back and I hope that they do. But that decision is ultimately theirs. They're not living their life for anything other than what they can find out, and I hope that they find out, they realize that this is part of who they really are. And I'm talking about 3 or 4 people right now, and that's how deeply encoded it is into the life experience. This is not just something you do. This is part of your life, and it can help you on the path of your life. In my life world, it is my life because of my commitment and what I've done and what I've paid and the dues I continuously pay. But that's not for everybody. I don't think everyone has to follow my path. My path is very unique. So is John Saylor's, and not everyone. That's why we connect, because we paid those dues. And you don't have to be us for us to like you, to train you to be successful. But everyone needs to put some sort of commitment, responsibility in their life to some direction. And I think that this might either force you to come to terms with that, or develop more of a responsibility or capacity to have responsibility in your own life. There's so many things to talk about, and we can't do it. I just want to say that, you know, it really would benefit people to come to seminars, personal training, to follow our development, because ultimately their development and our development can be tied together. And we're looking at this point in time to actively develop more people as instructors, and it's something that wasn't happening in the past because of different life stages for me, and this is the stage where we want to develop instructors and give other people the chance to pretty much feel the growth and also the satisfaction of becoming more than that they were, and to obtain something that they weren't before, because it's happened with us, and we're not going to be guilty of keeping it to ourselves. I mean, those people who are deserving, who show effort, will gain that same sort of information, will pass it on, because you know, I could take it to my grave. Mike Gallant has made that decision for himself at this point in time because of people to do that at this point in time, and I have decided to give people the chance, and those deserving people who can meet the qualifications and prerequisites will get it. And that's a personal decision. It's not for everybody, and it's not going to be handed out to anyone. But those who are deserving, willing, and want to do something with their lives, and I think that's most people because they're missing something in their lives or a purpose, then this is definitely can be yours. And Matt's a good testament to that because he's made such strides in these number of years. Started out and has done things that other people haven't done. And people like Brandon, who have been involved and had so much handed to him, and yet has done so little with it. And yet Matt, who's had not as much contact time, has done more with it. So that shows you the force of character, force of willpower. Once again, where we started is where we started all this interview. And I think we'll conclude on that. In that Matt had made a point to build your will, and if nothing else came out of this, is that to establish yourself in life, you're going to have to build your will. And that really will separate you from your childhood, from your teenage years, is that will is not there. You want to be so many different things. You want to be an image one day of one thing, an image of something else the next day. But all those things to create, to really be, to be that, takes will. So basically that, I'm just trying to encapsulate and summarize what we've covered and integrate, I guess. Everything that's been said, and there's a lot, so you need to play it back because Matt said some incredibly profound things, and they won't sink in probably the first time around. And really, I guess the last word is words are Matt's, so we'll let him talk. But we're concluding this interview and saying that there's more to come, there's more to learn. This doesn't stop. This is part of the path, and basically, we would like to help you with the path if that's what you choose, but we'll understand if you don't. But anyway.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Christophe for giving me the opportunity to express myself in this venue because, I talk to people who come around Boss all the time, but, I don't think people ask me quite the same questions as Christophe has. Some do. But it's just giving me a chance to give my piece of the puzzle, my perspective, because I think I do have a different perspective than Brandon or Sean Stiles or Arthur or Claude, because we're all different. We're all different people. We all have different backgrounds and different sets of philosophies and all different psychologies. So, I think it's important to learn from different people. I hope you learned something from this interview. And I'm not trying to be deep. I'm not trying to sound intelligent or anything like that. I'm just sharing my honest, my fully integrated honesty with you, and I'm just telling you how it's been for me and how it can be for you. And Christophe made a good point. When I'm saying you're either growing or dying, doesn't mean you got to start training every day for 5 hours. Maybe you're just training twice a week, but it's having that commitment to train twice a week or once a week. Maybe you might just come to one seminar a year. That's okay. As long as you keep growing. That's the point. I think that's the main point. It's just as long as you keep growing to your level of comfort. But as far as comfort, don't get it with what I call comfort zone. I'm very big on getting people out of their comfort zone, and that's, I guess, earlier on when I told the story about waking up Art and slamming him around at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's why I did that. It's to get him out of a comfort zone. As a friend, I cared about him enough to go to his house and wake him up and slam him around. It's not because I'm a jerk. It's because I care about the guy. I care about him enough to wake him up and get him out of his grave, his comfort zone. So we all tend to get in comfort zones. We all tend to get there because it's just the natural thing to do. So we've got to fight hard, all of us, Christophe included. We all have to fight to get out of our own unique different comfort zones. So, and that goes back to the will. It all integrates. Again, my other favorite word. But seriously, will is what is going to get you out of a comfort zone. Nothing else. Nothing else. There's nothing else but will to pull you out of that quicksand or the mud or wherever you're at. So I hope to see you all in the future. I hope to meet you. I hope to get a chance to teach you something, perhaps, or maybe you'll teach me something. All right. So take care, and hope you enjoyed this interview. Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks, Matt. Here from the Barn of Truth in Ohio, many thousands of miles from where you live. A lot warmer. Oh, well, not from where you live, from unfortunately from those people in New Brunswick. But we'll laugh, and no one will know why until they come there. But yeah, okay, it was great. It was a great interview. It was great talking to you. It was a lot of insight, a lot of things to compound on what was said by Arthur and and Sean and everyone else. And we'll look forward to more advice from you in the future. So thanks a lot, and everyone who's watching, basically see us on the web, call us, email us, talk to us later. We're available, and give us your feedback on this interview and everything else, all the other interviews. And thanks for the